Hi there, I'm Ron Hagan with Commercial Fleet, and we're at the Iowa 80 truck show at Walcott, Iowa with Pittsburgh Power. We're visiting with Bruce Mallinson, who owns this place, Pittsburgh Power, and has been developing these things over the years. Bruce, you got your hand on a Detroit Pittsburgh Power box. Why don't you tell us everything there is to know about that box, and what is it good? What good does it do the drivers, and why should they have it?
Hello, Ron. You know, whenever Detroit came out with the 12.7 Detroit, I thought, why would anybody buy a smaller engine when you can have 14 and 15 liter engines? But in 2003, we were assigned a project to build racing trucks for IMSA Racing, and they wanted 850 horsepower Detroits, and they gave us the 14 liter engines to work with. So we developed the Pittsburgh Power Box, and we have 9 power settings in this computer. And on this remote control, instead of having a dial, we have a button that you push. It tells you your exhaust temperature, your turbo boost. On the 12.7 Detroit, every setting is 25 horsepower to the rear wheels. So that gives you a total of 225 additional horsepower. And it's about 75 foot-pound of torque per setting. So torque is not an issue, horsepower is not an issue. The average person runs their Detroit between power level 3 and 4. So if you have a 500, you're running on 4, you now have a 600. It makes the engine responsive, makes it cool, fuel mileage improvement of 3/10 or more, and makes it an absolute pleasure to drive. The Peterbilt that hauled our show truck to Louisville this year was a D-Deck 3 with a power box and our manifold on. And we were grossing 72,000 pounds between Pittsburgh and Louisville. And I tell you, not only did we just walk by all the other trucks on the hills, we ran by them. And we were only running on power level 3, using 35 to 37 pounds of turbo boost. On the D-Deck 4s, you should change the turbo. The D-Deck 3, you're okay with the stock turbo. But on the D-Deck 4, we have a performance turbo that's 15% larger. It's $999. It's brand new, so you can keep your old turbo as
no core.
No core. And it allows the engine to breathe. And you'll be shocked at how great this 12.7 can run. This 12.7, whether it's a 430, 470, or a 500 on power level 3, will outrun a stock 550 can.
As a dealer, I have sold, the story that I like to use is one of my customers in Colorado that hauls bulls has a D-Deck 3, and he put the Pittsburgh Power Box on his truck, and he's hauling up the hills in Colorado, and he's getting 7 miles a gallon. His buddies that run with him have got the same engine. They do not have the Pittsburgh Power Box on. They are only getting 5.5 miles a gallon, and they can't keep up with him. Is that an unusual story?
No, we hear that quite often. In fact, the guys in Australia that are running the 12.7 Detroits that are pulling the trains, they absolutely love it, because when they're pulling the 3-loaded trailers out across their desert there, the firebox makes quite a difference. In fact, one of the stories, the guy ran with 2 550 cats, so they always made him lead last. Well, he passed them because they didn't know he had the firebox on it. It was quite a story. This was several years ago, but I remember it well.
So how easy is this thing to put on?
On the Detroit, we have 2 plugs. You have to unplug the 2 plugs in the ECM.
Okay.
You plug us in and then piggyback the factory plug into our wiring harness.
Okay.
Right here you have a turbo boost sensor. You unplug it, you plug us in.
Okay.
And we piggyback off of that. You have a hot wire and a ground wire and a thermocouple in the exhaust pipe or the exhaust manifold, and that's it. This goes in the cab. They are not waterproof.
Okay.
You can put it in a glove box. You can put it on the floor on a lot of Freightliners. There's that fiberglass panel in front of the shifter under the dash. Mount it to there. You have a master on-off switch. You have the 6 lights that tell you that all 6 cylinders are receiving power. Now, you don't receive power at an idle, and you cannot make it receive power at an idle.
Okay.
You have to take it down the road. You see those lights light up. And the remote control is held with 3M Velcro, and it goes right on your dash anywhere
wherever it's convenient to use.
Every click up, it's 25 more horsepower and 75 more foot-pound of torque, and every click down takes it away.
What sort of money are we looking at?
It's the same price as the cat boxes, $2,395.
Okay.
Pays for itself in satisfaction the very first trip.
Now, are there some Detroits that need different harnesses that might run it up a little bit?
Well, we have it for the D-Deck 3, D-Deck 4, and D-Deck 5.
Okay.
Not the D-Deck 15 yet.
Okay. But that's
on the
coming?
D-Deck 5, that 515 horse, if you take and put one of our straight through mufflers on our power box, it's a real animal for power.
Okay.
Fuel mileage improves. Al and Kim Hemerson that live just west of here, they were in the high 4s and low 5s with their Freightliner with the D-Deck 5, and now they're running high 6s and low 7s.
Wow.
He said Al Hemerson, he's a farmer, still has one of those old high performance Firebirds like Smokey and the Band had, you know, same
Yeah,
color.
yeah.
And he said, you got to remind people, it's hard to slow 80,000 pounds down. It's hard to slow it down going uphill when a truck pulls out in front of you.
Wow.
Guy in
Okay.
Australia says the same thing also.
Well, I know we have a lot of luck with the guys up in Canada. We saw in Canada and out in Western Canada, they just love the thing.
A lot of people will say, if I had to give back my firebox on my Detroit, I'd give up trucking.
Yeah. It is a successful thing. Now,
Steve Notstein, this guy's 74 years old,
Yeah.
farmer just north of Louisville. Then he was an insurance agent. He's on his third career. He finally got to become an owner-operator at age 64. And first thing he put on his peak with a D-Deck 3 Detroit was the firebox. Now he's got the manifold, the fast system, the turbo, damper and balancer, and he just absolutely loves it. Now he said he can't quit because he enjoys driving his truck too much.
Well, is there a warranty on this?
Oh yes, yeah. If you get water in it,
Well,
there's no warranty, but very few people get water in it. But we warranty them for several years.
okay. All right.
They're made in the USA.
U.S.
Try to
products.
use all U.S. products in it.
Okay.
We have retired engineers from Cummins working with us.
Okay.
Our oldest guy is 80 years old. He's the hardware engineer, and he's been building computers for Cummins for about 50 years now.
Well,
So to him, he doesn't care what the engine's on, so long as he can read the signals. His next challenge now is the D16 and the D12 Volvo.
Ah. Okay.
They did a great job of hiring the wires, so now we have to locate the correct wires that we'll have to tie into.
Yeah, we need a product for the Volvo.
We do. And we're very close to having one for the Mavic.
Okay. Well, there's a lot more. I run into a fair number of Volvos as a dealer for you. I run into a fair number of Volvos, and I'm sorry we can't do anything for you.
Yeah, we get Volvo owners calling us every day.
Yeah.
We have manifolds for them. We have the fast system for them.
Yeah. Well, what they need is the box.
They need the box. You got to give it fuel to make power, and power makes fuel mileage. You got to properly drive horsepower, though.
Certainly.
You can't be up and down on the throttle. You have to have a steady right foot. Use the cruise control on the flats. You drive it on the hills.
Well, as a dyno owner, one of the things I recommend to my customers is to spend the extra $300. Take the truck when it's finished to wherever your local dyno shop is that can handle your truck. Get a dyno report and find out where is your power band and drive your power band. And as long as you keep your power band in that optimum position, you're going to be just like the Formula One Ferrari driver Schumacher. How does he win? He stays right within his power band. He's got a lot of power, but it's such a small power band, he has to shift some 10,000 times during a Formula One race. Well, our drivers are not too much different from that. They've got to stay within their power band, or we won't be having this conversation next year because they're going to be out doing something else.
Well, our power band actually just widens the power band considerably.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well,
One thing you don't want to do if you have a power box, you want to stay away from 11 to 1200 RPM and even 1300. If you're working it hard and you're on a hill, drop down a half a gear or full gear. Bring the RPM up 15, 16, 1700. Let the engine breathe because you are giving it extra power.
Okay. All right.
Especially in EGR D-Deck 5.
Okay.
Water temp stays down also when you bring the RPM up. Remember, RPM does not burn fuel. It's how far you're pushing on the throttle. If you're running along at 11, 1200 RPM and you're pushing further on the throttle and making more turbo boost to compensate for a lack of RPM,
you're actually burning more fuel than if you had the RPM at 15 or 1600 and your foot's out of it and your turbo boost is low. There's only one thing that makes a turbo boost, and that's fuel.